I'm Chelsea Palmatier from St. Paul, Minnesota, and I'm here to speak out against sexual assault.
I'm Ella Darger from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I'm here because I'm passionate about speaking out about sexual assault.
I'm Mia Jackman. I'm from St. Paul, Minnesota, and I'm here to speak out against sexual assault.
I'm Melissa Vopin. I'm from Boulder Junction, Wisconsin, and I'm here to speak about sexual assault. I'm McKenna Nerone. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I'm here to speak out about sexual assault.
Rape culture is when you teach me not to get raped instead of teaching him not to rape.
I think it's important to start your journey with this education at a young age so that you have more time to grow with it. So when you get to our age and you're coming to college, it's not the first time you hear about rape culture, and it's not the first, your orientation shouldn't be the first time you hear about how to not get raped. It should be from a young age, men learning, not to rape women, and women knowing how to be proactive for themselves and for others. The studies show that people who talked about it earlier on when they were younger, 4 or 5 years old, that they had healthier views of sexual relationships and how to be safe and how to have that consensual discussion than those who started later on, in high school, middle school kind of thing. And then they just having that discussion, so that way it's not such a taboo thing where you're I'm very uncomfortable talking about this and I don't want to talk about this, let's just not talk about it.
Early is obviously important, but I think that continuing the education is important also. When I go to the lady doctor, I go to a certified midwife, and every time I go in to see her, she always asks, how are you, how have you been, how's school, blah, 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 and then she goes, how's your relationship, do you feel comfortable? And she asks those questions. I think that that's a really safe environment to do that in. And I think also about how a lot of the older generation, if there's a 45-year-old man who is totally oblivious to what rape culture is, you can't put him back in the classroom. And so how do we reach those people? How do we get the message up to them? If they're not on Facebook or they're not on social media, how does this message get diffused? And I think that's when you have to go into the community.
With sex, it's everywhere. It's in the media, it's in our songs, it's in our books. We've got 50 Shades of Grey as bestseller. And at the same time, you can't go talk to educated people about sex because it's too taboo. And in my opinion, if a child is old enough to ask the question, they're old enough to get an answer from you, and they deserve your honesty. You could just switch that sex negativity around and be more open, be sex positive. Let's be honest. Food is a need. We need food. Sex is a need. We need that. It's one of our human needs. And you talking to them only makes that experience better for them, safer for them, just all around, a better situation. Sex is an arrangement and it's an agreement, and both people are there to get something out of it. We don't educate people about that, whether or not it's at home or at school. We don't educate people, especially men and women, how women can get the enjoyment out of the encounter. The first time I learned really about my own body parts was in college, freshman year. And it makes it impossible to go into a sexual agreement if we don't know about ourselves, and if we don't know what we like, and if we don't know that we can tell our partner those things, because the most disappointing thing is being in a sexual encounter with someone who doesn't care and realizes that you're unhappy and is only there for themselves and doesn't care that you're also there.
I think that goes into the whole thing again, just talking with each other, what am I willing to do, what am I not willing to do, and what do I want to get out of this experience, and what do you want to get out of it? and like, okay, here's the game plan. All right, now break because it's gonna happen, kind of thing. Like that way, just like that way, like everyone's like enjoys it. Cause like if you're not enjoying yourself, then you're not gonna want to do it again. How like men who are like open and like wanting to help, like you're part of our solution to it, and that like when you start viewing it that way and not so much that you're the problem. And so then once we kind of like stop like villainizing men and just kind of like say like, no, this is what's going on, here's how you can get on board, this is how you can help and educate other men, that's like the biggest step that we can possibly take.